this video, we are going to talk about the structure and the locations of the toll-like receptors. So toll-like receptors are membrane-spanning proteins, which means that part of the receptor is located outside of the cell in the extracellular fluid, and the other part is located inside of the cell in the intercellular fluid. So the extracellular region of the TLRs is composed of 18 to 25 copies of leucine-rich repeats. So these are the leucine-rich repeats, and I've only drawn about 7 here for simplicity's sake. And each of these leucine-rich repeats is composed of 20 to 25 copies of amino acids. And these LRRs create a horseshoe-shaped protein scaffold, and this is the ligand binding pocket of the receptor. So the toll-like receptor can recognize and bind their microbial ligand on both the outer or the convex side of the receptor and also the concave or inner side of the receptor. And then the intercellular region is composed of a it's called the toll IL-1 receptor domain, or the TER domain. So this is the intercellularly located TER domain, and this is what interacts with the other TER type domains in the cytoplasmic adapter molecules that initiate the downstream intracellular signaling. And one more important thing about the structure of toll-like receptors that I will draw for you later is that signaling is activated when 2 toll-like receptors bind to each other and form an M-shaped kind of dimer. So you can imagine them joining with another toll-like receptor here upon binding their microbial ligand. So that is called a dimer. So a toll-like receptor needs to form a dimer upon binding with their ligand, and all 10 of the receptors form this dimer to initiate intercellular signaling. And some of the toll-like receptors are found on the cell's outer plasma membrane here, while the rest are found on the membranes of endosomes, which are located inside of the cell. So located on the cell surface, are toll-like receptors 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And then located intracellularly on the endosomes are the rest of the toll-like receptors. So TLRs 3, 7, 8, and 9. And so going back to what I said earlier about the dimers, toll-like receptors 1, 2, and 6 form heterodimers upon binding their ligand, which means that toll-like receptor 1, so here we kind of draw the receptor, here's a TER domain here. This is, label that in red. This is TLR1. It can form a dimer with either TLR2, so we'll call this TLR2, or it can form a dimer with TLR6. So that is called a heterodimer. The rest of the extracellularly located toll-like receptors only form homodimers, so they form a dimer with themselves. So that leaves toll-like receptor 4. So these are both toll-like receptor 4. And then 5 and 6. Then the intracellularly located toll-like receptors also form homodimers. So we'll have 3 7, 8, and there's 9. So 3, 7, 8, 9 are located intracellularly on the walls of endosomes. And once again, TLRs 1, 2, and 6 form heterodimers, while the rest, upon binding their ligand, will form a homodimer with themselves.